Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Today, Michael Fulmer will make his first career start in a pretty special place, opening up its gates in 1914 as one of the most iconic stops in Major League Baseball. Today, Tigers fans invade the north side at Wrigley Field. A beautiful day for baseball here. Welcome inside the venerable ballpark. For today, it's game one of the short two-game series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago Cubs. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad you're with us here for Game 1 featuring the Tigers and the Cubbies. And what more can you say about Wrigley, Rod? We don't get a chance to come here very often, but this truly is a special place and special atmosphere.
One of the great cathedrals in our sport. There's no question about that. You've got Boston, you've got Dodger Stadium, and you got a couple of more, but this place is awfully special. You got people everywhere. I came here as a fan for the World Series a couple of years ago, and I'd never had as much fun at a baseball game. It's electric here.
All right, Michael Fulmer will get the start here this afternoon. Did pretty well in his last start. Now, after that start, Ron Gardner, his manager, said he finally found success when he started using all of his pitches.
He had the one inning where he basically was trying to muscle through it, and that's when they scored a few runs on him. And after that, Andy had a little talk with him about pitching. Use them all. Use all your pitches, and the rest of the way through, he pretty much used all of his pitches, his slider and his change. And I think you saw the results. They were pretty good after that.
And one of the things that Michael Fulmer must do today is exactly what Ron Gardenhire said in his last outing against the Oakland Athletics. He used his fastball very early, and then Rick Anderson went out to talk to him. He mixed in all of his pitches later on, but it was too late. He took the loss in that game. He also took a loss against the Cleveland Indians doing the exact same thing. Take a look at the fastball usage in the first 3 innings in his last start, and then look at the fastball usage the final 4 frames. He made his life that much easier, Mario. We've watched this young man win the Rookie of the Year. We watched this man make an all-star team last year by using all 3 of his pitches. But for whatever reason, he was the only guy on the pitching staff under Chris Bosio, and I'm not blaming Bosio, that was throwing more fastballs than breaking balls. He was the only one. So once he gets that mix back down, I think we're going to see a good effort today. He needs a good effort because they got a good team.
All right, now, you know who's been fun to watch, I should say, in Tigers uniform? That would be Nico Goodrum. He had the big triple yesterday, which set up the game-winning run. Nico had a huge series in the 4 games set in Toronto, and now when you look at what he's done here, he's pretty much taken over the second base position.
Well, I love his skill set. I mean, he stands 6'4", which is big for a second baseman, but he has a tremendous arm. He has a shortstop arm, but he's got pop in his bat. I mean, he's already homered a few times this year for the Tigers. First career 4-hit game 2 days ago. Then he tripled in the top half of the 10th. That was the big knock, which led the Tigers to victory in yesterday's game, and they were able to split that series in Toronto. He's an athlete, man. I like watching him play, and Ron Gardenhire is giving him every opportunity to continue to play as long as he hits, because he knows he's going to get better. This guy's 25, 26 years old with a wealth of talent.
All right, this Cubs team could score a lot of runs. We found that out so far this year. Maybe their best player right now, having the best offensive season, Javier Baez.
He's a bad dude,
yeah,
and there's no doubt about that. I mean, Javier Baez is one of the most athletic players in the game of baseball. Yes, he does swing and miss sometimes, and his swing is long, but when he makes contact, he does a lot of damage to the pull field. He leads their team in homers and in RBIs, and once he gets on the bases, there's no guy that has better instincts than Javier Baez. He steals bases, he steals second, he steals third, he steals home, for crying out loud. This guy's fearless, and Joe Madden has said that this guy, if he ever learns the strike zone, ever really learns the strike zone and starts to shrink it and gets pitches to hit, he's going to be a dynamite player. So he's gifted, man. Really, really gifted.
Well, it's going to be a tall challenge for the Tigers the next 2 days, but that's okay. They've been playing a lot of close games this week and actually this year, so we'll see how they do here. Now, coming up after the break, John Keating will sit down with Mike Fiers. Boy, was he marvelous against the Toronto Blue Jays. Stay with us. Keats and Fiers coming up next.
Kroger.com for great deals, digital coupons, and more. By Comerica Bank, raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Jeep, hurry into the Jeep Celebration event and get a great deal today. What a great day for baseball on the north side of Chicago. The Tigers and Cubs getting set to do battle. John Keating rejoining you. The guy who will start for the Tigers today is considered the horse of the staff. Hard-throwing Michael Fulmer. But the most consistent starting pitcher that the Tigers have might be the guy who throws darts. Over his last 5 starts, Mike Fiers' ERA is 2.7. He's coming off that start in Toronto yesterday, in which he only allowed a run over 8 innings. He'll watch Michael Fulmer today and root him on in one of his favorite ballparks.
Every park's different, and that's what makes baseball so unique. And it's coming here, knowing, I mean, the history of this place has been here forever. And you know, they won a World Series a couple years ago, so I'm sure they were waiting a long time for that. And but you know, it's a great park. I mean, these fans show up. It's always packed and great environment.
All right, let's talk about yesterday. You were absolutely brilliant. How much were you aware that you were 25 of 28 in first pitch strikes against the Blue Jays yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was throwing a lot of strikes. I know they were swinging early as well, so a couple of those could have been borderline strike or balls, but you know, since they were swinging, I needed to be in those spots. You know, staying out of the big part, middle of the zone, and getting softer contact, and you know, getting quicker outs.
As we get closer to the end of July, every player is aware the deadline is coming up. You've heard your name mentioned. How much of an issue is it to sort of push those thoughts to the side?
Yeah, I mean, I'm focused on pitching for this ball club here and just winning for these guys. It's happened to me before where I got traded at a deadline, but not thinking about that and just pitching, going through my routine, and fighting every 5 days for this team.
All right, one final question. You were terrific in pitching strikes yesterday. At what point in the game do you figure out what an umpire's strike zone is? Because it varies, right?
Yeah, it definitely varies. I mean, sometimes it's tight. Sometimes it opens up later in the game. I mean, it's kind of hard for me, But for me, it's throwing my pitches and throwing quality strikes. I mean, whether it's down the zone or up in the zone, I kind of go off of myself at that point. I'm not really worried about too much on what he's calling. I'm just trying to keep the ball down and out and in, up, just anywhere, just trying to keep the hitters off balance. And, if I get a few calls here and there, then great.
Mike Fiers pitched 8 innings in Toronto, the longest start that he's had since 2015. And he will sit and watch and root for his fellow pitcher, Mike Fulmer, against the Cubs here at Wrigley Field on a glorious day. And lots of Tiger fans have made their way to the north side of Chicago, as they always do when Detroit's in town. Back to Matt Shepard in our Coliseum studio in a moment.
Well, Tigers fans always show up to Wrigley Field, and today is no different. A spectacular day for baseball here in the north side of Chicago, 83 degrees. Our game time temperature, game one in the short two-game series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago Cubs. Here's the starting lineup for the visiting Tigers here, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Tigers have Mikey Matuk leading off. He'll play in left field, followed by Castellanos and Candelario. No DH in this series, obviously, so Goodrum is at second, batting cleanup. Aducey is at first base. Jones, McCann, Iglesias, and Fulmer rounded out for the Tigers in the starting nine, and they are facing the offerings of Kyle Hendricks.
And Kyle Hendricks does not throw hard. As a matter of fact, his fastball probably will top out at about 88 miles an hour. He's making his 17th start of the season, 5-8 record, a 4.21 ERA. He really loves his changeup. As a matter of fact, most of his strikeouts come on his changeup, which is awfully rare in professional baseball these days. Now let's take a look at the Chicago Cubs defensive alignment behind Kyle Hendricks. In the center field, they've got Almora Jr. They say he's on his way of winning a Gold Glove. In right field, Jason Hayward, he's already won 5 of those. In the infield, they've got an athletic infield. On the left side, they've got Baez and Russell. They can really cover some ground. Zobrist and Rizzo on the right side, and Wilson Contreras is the starting catcher this afternoon.
Tigers and Cubs last met in 2015 when Detroit won 3 of 4 games. All time, the Tigers have pretty good numbers against the Cubs, and well, another big crowd is filing in here today on a spectacular afternoon for baseball here in Chicago.
Isn't it beautiful today?
It is absolutely picture perfect, and walking into the ballpark today is we normally see a lot of Tigers fans who love to make this trip to Wrigley. And it's always fun, even though we do it only every couple of years, to come to this ballpark.
Historic venue.
1914, the year the gates opened up here at Wrigley Field. And we are just about ready for baseball here this afternoon. The Tigers splitting their series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Coming into this series here, and Kyle Hendricks will go to work now as the Tigers send Mikey Matuk to the plate to lead things off. It'll be Matuk, Castellanos, and Candelario against the Cubs right-hander. Mikey was 1 for 4 in the series against the Blue Jays, just called up when Leonis Martin was placed on the DL a couple of days ago.
This crowd is already fired up.
Already a buzz in the stadium. There's a strike called on Matuk. Holds better than 41,000 fans. And they're piled in here again today. Now Hendricks for the 0-1. They'll slide low and away. The count levels now 1 ball and 1 strike on Mikey. 192 in the big leagues this year. He was batting .261 at AAA Toledo. There's a strike call to the inside part of the plate.
Yeah, one of the things the Tigers are going to have to do today against Hendricks, because he doesn't throw hard, you really have to think about hitting the ball up the middle and the other way. If you try to be over aggressive against a guy that doesn't throw hard, you're going to roll over to the infield all day long.
That is sliced to right field and a base hit as it falls in front of Jason Hayward, and the Tigers get the leadoff man on.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. That is an outstanding swing there by Mikey Matuk with 2 strikes. As a matter of fact, the Tigers have been doing a pretty nice job the last couple of days with 2 strikes. Now, this ball is a fastball, and it gets too much plate. And you could see that Matuk wasn't trying to be over-aggressive, just put it in play, which he did to right field for a solid single.
It'll bring up one of the hottest Tigers hitters, Nicholas Castellanos, batting .310.
And we know Nicholas loves to swing at first pitches, and he's got real good career numbers against the Cubbies.
Castellanos has hit in his last 3 for the Tigers, hit a grand slam in Toronto. And Nick shoots one foul down the right field line. Well, we mentioned it's a gorgeous afternoon here today. 83 degrees our game time temp, mostly sunny today.
And the wind not blowing out here today. That's one of the first things you look at as a player when you walk into the ballpark. You want to see which way the wind is blowing, because when the wind is blowing out, you're going to see some crazy games here.
Now the 0-1. Popped up shallow center field, and that ball will drop. Base hit. Matuk is on his way to third. Got a nice read on it. And the Tigers have first and third, nobody out.
It doesn't have to be pretty. And second consecutive Tiger that has gone the opposite way. Hendricks got a fastball in on Nicholas Castellanos that he was able to fight off. And you said it, buddy. Great base running by Mikey Monta. He knew that ball was going to drop. He doesn't hesitate, and he was able to get to third base without the help of Dave Clark, the third base coach.
Zobrist, the second baseman, was on the charge for that ball. It looked like he might have a play, but Mikey realized early there was no chance.
And golden opportunity for the Tigers to score first here today against the Cubs, which is very important.
Here is Jeimer Candelario batting .242. Cubs fans are very familiar with Jeimer. He grew up in their system and came over to the Tigers at the deadline last year. .32 RBIs on the year for Candelario. They'll sail low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now the Cubs knew they had a big league player in Jeimer Candelario, but the thing that led him to being traded to the Tigers is the fact that he was blocked by Chris Bryant, their third baseman who's on the disabled list, who won an MVP. There was nowhere for Candelario to play. Ooh, that's a change
and a miss. And the count is 1-2 now on Candy.
Hendricks has 70 strikeouts this year, and 57% of his strikeouts come on this pitch right here, which is rare, Mario. Usually guys use the changeup as a contact pitch, a pitch to get pop-ups and soft contact. You don't usually see guys get that many strikeouts with a changeup, which means he's got a good one.
Snap throw to third, and Bryant has made a great play to keep that ball from sailing down the line.
Yeah, you've got to watch Contreras. He's got an outstanding throwing arm, and he likes to show it off.
Kyle Hendricks has had his issues in the first inning. His ERA is 7.88 in the first inning this year.
And you saw that little note on Contreras. And 41 pickoffs since he's been in the big leagues, which is the most in the majors.
And Jeimer looks at the ball high. Now the count fills 3-2.
He will not be afraid to throw that changeup here, which means if you're Ron Gardenhire, you should be a little cautious here in sending Nicholas Castellanos. We told you get lots of strikeouts on that pitch, lots of swings and misses. So we'll see if Ron Gardenhire is going to allow Castellanos to take off on a 3-2 pitch.
Singles by Matuk and Castellanos to open the game. Slow roller towards second base. Zobrist has only 1 play. That'll get a run in. It's an RBI for Candelario. Matuk scores from third, early lead for the Tigers.
And good base running by Nick. And once he saw how softly that ball was hit, he knew he could get past Zobrist and make it to second base safely.
Runner at second now, 1 out for Nico Goodrum. Boy, has Nico been hot. He had that 4-hit game on Sunday and then follow that up with a big triple yesterday to set up the winning run in extra innings. Ball high, 1-0. Nico has gone from trying to make the team in spring training to sharing time at second with Machado to now batting cleanup here at Wrigley Field today. With Victor Martinez out of the lineup, no DH. Ripped down the right field line. That is a fair ball going to the corner. That'll get another run in. Goodrum is on his way to second, and he is in with a double.
Nico Goodrum continues to swing that hot stick, and every time he makes contact, it seems like it's an extra base hit. 16th double of the season for the rookie second baseman. And they've jumped all over Kyle Hendricks here in the first inning. It's a really good sign. A BP fastball, 86 miles an hour, ripped down in the right field corner. And by the time Hayward picks it up, another run and a double for Nico, coasting in the second, styling.
Hendricks' average fastball is 86.6 miles per hour. That's his average, so that is the slowest in the major leagues. And as the Ducey fouls it back. This goes back to the number we gave you, is 7.88 ERA in the first. 16 runs allowed now in 17 starts. A Ducey back in the big leagues. 309 with Toledo this year. Slow roller back towards second base. Zobrist gobbles it up. Runner will advance, and there are 2 gone. By the way, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the Tiger Box to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. 2 gone now for Jacoby Jones. Tigers giving their fans something to cheer about early in this game. Jacoby, 2 out of 13 in the Toronto series. And Jones looks at a ball high. Jones 6 home runs this year, .219 batting average. Fouled off, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Jacoby going to get most of the reps in center field as Leonis Martin nurses that tender hamstring on the disabled list. Mikey Monta can also play some center field. There's Ron Gardner. He was talking about how special this place was this morning when he met with the media. Told his players to enjoy the atmosphere, but remember, you've got a game to play. Don't get caught up looking at everything, is what Ron said. Ron said when he came here as a player, sometimes he'd get caught looking at everything going on around him. Not that he wasn't playing the game, but you can get caught up in it here.
Well, it's so different. It is such a hallowed place. You've got the ivy on the outfield walls.
I mean, just listen to the buzz in the place. It's like a playoff game here.
It's half baseball and half party.
Oh, it's a big-time party now.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Jacoby is out of there to end the inning. Tigers score first. They get a pair of runs on Kyle Hendricks. We'll go to the bottom of the first inning. Here comes Fulmer. This one in support of Michael Fulmer, who's making the start today, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Michael looking for his fourth win, I should say, of the season against the Chicago Cubs this afternoon. Checks in with a 4.20 ERA. He's got the fastball that gets into the upper 90s. He's got a good slider and a good changeup, and expect him to use all those pitches early today.
Starting lineup for the Cubs, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Here's how Joe Madden will line them up. It's going to be Almora, Hayward, and Zobrist at the top. You got Rizzo batting cleanup. Javi Baez having a great year. Then Schwarber with power. Contreras, Russell, and Hendricks round out their lineup. Michael Fulmer goes to work now. Here is Almora to lead things off. And he'll take ball 1. It's been a pretty good year here for Albert Almora at .331. He's knocked in 26. And this year batting .357 from the leadoff spot for the Cubs. He'll shoot one on the ground foul, and the count levels now 1-1.
There are some that are saying that he is playing so well in center field this year that he's going to get some Gold Glove consideration. And you talked about the offensive season he's having. He's batting .331.
This Cubs team can score. Swing and a miss.
In the Cubs' last 4 games, which were all wins, they averaged 11.5 runs in each of those games. Unbelievable.
Joe Madden, the skipper, brought a World Series title here a couple of years ago, and a swing and a miss. Almora is carved up by Fulmer. 1 gone.
And let's take a peek at the Tigers' defensive alignment behind the right-hander Michael Fulmer this afternoon. And Mikey Montauk makes his 2nd consecutive start in left field after being recalled from the minors. Jones in center. Castellanos is over in right. Goodrum and Iglesias up the middle. Candelario Ducey on the corners. And James McCann is behind the dish.
Here is Jim Ducey getting his first start after being called up.
Deuce.
Back
Real
in
nice,
the big leagues.
Real nice slider there by Michael Fulmer to strike out Almora Jr.
Jason Hayward, the batter. Tremendous defender. He's batting .285 this year with 5 long balls.
If he ever really figures it out, he can be a really good player.
.1-1 backs him out of there. 2-1 on Hayward.
Hayward back in 2010 and was with the Atlanta Braves and had a really good rookie season. Finished 2nd to Buster Posey in the Rookie of the Year voting that year.
Chop to the shortstop. Iglesias, quick backhand, quick throw. 2 gone.
And sometimes we'll see Iglesias get in front of balls, and sometimes we'll see him backhanded. But that's the key right there, is he went down to 1 knee and he really watched that ball into the backhand, and he knew he had to get up quickly and fire it across the diamond because Hayward has decent speed. Iglesias has had a really nice year at shortstop.
Here is Ben Zobrist hitting in the 3 spot for the Cubs. The very versatile Zobrist, who in his career has played every position but pitch and catch in the major leagues. And Fulmer pours one in for a strike at 97 miles an hour.
Ben is a winning player.
He's got a couple of World Series titles. 1 with KC and 1 here with the Cubs. Zobrist really one of those first guys a couple of years ago that was termed the super utility player by Joe Madden.
That's right.
He could play the outfield, play the infield, and it's kind of like Nico Goodrum has morphed into with the Tigers. That'll dart low and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Zobrist.
And career games for Zobrist. He's played second base the most. And shortstop quite a bit and right field.
Way outside. Zobrist at .293 this year. A little bit of power, 6 homers. Come to Wrigley Field, you got to bring your camera.
Yes, you do.
And you'll be taking pictures all day. Now Fulmer with the 2-2. Popped up foul. This will get back out of play. Hey, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll be selecting the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. A bunch of early candidates. Tigers got a couple of runs in the first. Nico with an RBI double. Zobrist looked like he was headed back to the bench.
Yes, he was.
He thought for sure he was going to be rung up by Mark Wegner.
He better be swinging right now. I mean, he takes what he thinks is strike 3, and it is strike 3, and he's headed back to the dugout, and the umpire calls it a ball. That's a shame, partner, when the umpire calls it a ball when you think you're struck out.
Zobrist had that look on his face like, yeah, I meant to do that. I knew it was a ball.
What do you think of all the renovations here? You had a chance to peek around a little bit?
Well, the one renovation that I love is the elevator that brings us to the booth instead of walking the ramps.
I made the mistake of walking. I had a nice lather when I got up here, too.
Mark Wegner is your crew chief behind the plate. And again, the 3-2. Pulled to first base. Ducey, nice backhanded play. He'll take it himself in a 1-2-3 first for Michael Fulmer. Jim Ducey back in the big leagues, already flashing his glove. Nicely done. Player Wrigley Field. Well, what more can you say about this place? Here are some of the particulars. The first game was played in 1914 here, and they got the lights added here in 1988.
Yeah, the lights were big. And started to play a few night games.
Yeah, I was reading Major League Baseball pretty much told the folks here that you better put lights in your park, otherwise you will not be hosting any postseason games in the future. So they went ahead and broke tradition. Here is James McCann to get things started for the Tigers. Kyle Hendricks gave up 2 in the first inning to the Detroit Bats. Got to get James going, man. He is struggling. 1 for his last 11, and the average now at 226.
Yeah, he was one Tiger that wanted to see the calendar turn to July. He had a very rough June. Overall, James batting .226 with 4 homers. He's driven in 22. He's a Tigers starting catcher.
Swing and a miss. 1-2 on McCann. Hendricks, their starter, has much better numbers at home than on the road. In fact, career in this yard, he's very good. That'll be driven down the right field line. Hayward coming over toward the corner, sliding, and Hayward holds on. Nice play. Up against the wall where foul territory is non-existent.
I did a piece on Hayward in the pregame show today and talking about the fact that he's won 5 Gold Gloves. You don't have any room down in that right field corner because the fence is right on top of the foul line, but he had great concentration. He braced himself to make contact with that wall, and he was able to hold on to the baseball. That's an incredible catch by Jason Hayward.
You are not going to win a collision with that wall, and he did a marvelous job of controlling his body. He's got 5 career Gold Gloves, 4 of them consecutively. And there's a sliver Y. Here is Iglesias. Iglesias 4 for 14 in the Toronto series, holding steady at a .270. To the right side of the infield for Zobrist. 2 gone. Hey, tickets for the Alan Trammell and Jack Morris Hall of Fame and number retirement dinner are on sale now. Tigers fans can enjoy an evening with the 2 Tiger greats on Thursday, August 9th at the Motor City Casino Hotel. Select ticket packages include a private meet and greet and a whole lot more. For tickets, go to tigers.com/HOF dinner. Now Michael Fulmer will bat with 2 outs, and he is still looking for his first hit. Daniel Norris a couple of years ago homered off John Lester in this ballpark. Who knows? Now Fulmer sends a ground ball instead to second. Zobrist will handle it, and a 1-2-3 inning. Hendricks with only an 8-pitch frame. Field. Tigers got a pair in the first inning. Here is the Bernstein advantage. Michael Fulmer, we wanted to look at some numbers through 67 career games, right, compared to where Justin Verlander was at this point.
Well, if you look at Michael's numbers, man, I mean, they're better than Justin Verlander's numbers up and down. I mean, as far as the ERA and the WHIP, I mean, you go down to the home runs per 9. Michael Fulmer's off to a very nice start in his first 3 years in the big leagues, Mario, and that's why. And I don't want to get too much into that. That's why there's a lot of teams out there right now that is blowing Al Avila's phone up right now, wondering whether Michael Fulmer is going to be available at the trade deadline.
You will never say never, because if the right deal is out there, you would be foolish not to take it if somebody blows you away.
And there's no doubt Chicago Cubs are watching Michael Fulmer very closely today because they need a starting pitcher, just like a lot of teams.
Here is Anthony Rizzo to get it rolling now for the Cubs in the second. Fulmer had a 1-2-3 first.
And if the Tigers decide to trade him, he's going to bring back a large package of talent.
Rizzo looks at a strike right at the knees.
Mike Rizzo stands right on top of the plate, and he absolutely dares you to throw fastballs inside. And that's why he gets hit so much. Anthony Rizzo.
Rizzo right now 9 for his last 18, so he's been scalding hot. He's knocked in 56 on the year, 12 home runs.
He's their leader. He's their captain.
1-2.
He's got 12 homers. He's driven in 56. 6'3", 240 pounds.
Right into the shift. Nico, nice play. Spinning, throwing, got him.
Stop it, Nico.
Goodrum is not only handling the bat well, but playing second base extremely well.
I see you, Nico. That ball hit hard off the bat of Rizzo. Now he takes it and dives, reverse pirouette, and fires a strike over to Ducey to get the out.
I mean, say what you want about being big league players on the field, and you should be able to make that play. That was not that easy.
No, it's not an easy play.
Down to his knees and then quickly to his feet. Here is Javier Baez. Baez right now is as good as anybody in the National League. He was the player of the week in the NL. 16 home runs, tied for the team lead.
He's 25 years old, and he is a legitimate five-tool player. But that's the one thing that he does a lot of that they would love to see him cut down on. They have not been able to do it yet, and that's to cut down on that big swing. It's an event when you come here, isn't it?
I think, and I don't know what the raw numbers are, but a lot of folks, you know, come here as a destination. You know, they want to see historic Wrigley Field, and you know, obviously Tigers fans want their team to win, Cubs fans likewise, but I'll bet there are just a lot of people from out of town, period, that don't have a rooting interest for either one of these teams.
Agreed.
They just want to experience Wrigley Field.
I came here as a fan for the World Series a couple of years ago, and my wife and I sat out in the center field, and we had so much fun getting to know the people out there. And you know, they play music, Mario, like after every inning. I mean, it's good music, and everybody gets up and they just start dancing and having fun. We had a great time.
And a big swing and a miss, and Baez out on strikes. Fulmer looking sharp today.
Yeah, big time fastball here. Thrown at 98 miles an hour. This is the hardest four-seam fastball that Michael has unleashed here so far this afternoon.
Fulmer's average fastball 96, which is among the highest in the major leagues. And, well, he's off to a nice start today after 25 pitches. 5 up, 5 down.
What's been your favorite ballpark that you've ever visited as a fan? Not working that day, but to watch a game.
That's a good question. There's Nico again in short right field, and he'll throw him out. And Ducey very nearly collided there with the runner Schwarber. We'll get to that when we come back. When we come back, we'll talk with Matthew Boyd. We'll mic him up down in the Tiger dugout. It's 2-0 in favor of the Tigers. They got a couple of runs off Kyle Hendricks in the first inning. We're pleased to be joined down in the Tiger dugout by Matthew Boyd, who was really good in his last start against the Toronto Blue Jays. Matt, before we get to that start, talk about what the atmosphere is like here for a player. I mean, I know you're not playing in this ball game, but this is a different buzz in this yard.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, the history in itself is awesome, and you know, it's packed out, and it's a different atmosphere, and we have a ton of fans here, so it's pretty cool. Oh, thanks, Mike.
Oh, this
How about this guy going yesterday? 8 strong.
Good. He was good.
Yeah, now he's taking care of me.
You ought to be getting him some water.
I know. He's just taking care of me. Oh, thank you.
Hey, you've been to Fenway and you've been to Wrigley. I mean, do you have a favorite of the two? I mean, I know they're different and I know they're both special, but I know you like that one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I got to throw an inning here a few years back when I first came over with the Tigers, and that was awesome. Fenway is awesome too. That's, you know, a really special atmosphere, but I mean, getting to play at both of them is pretty cool in itself. I mean, you know, this one, maybe I'd go with Fenway though, because I actually got to start there.
Yeah, well, they're both great ballparks, and certainly Wrigley can stand with any of them. But talk about your last start against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Good start. What'd you think of yourself that day?
You know, it's it was good, man. You know, Grayson called a great game behind the plate. We played some great defense, man. We you know, we swung the bat. We came up just a little short, but you know, made a few mistakes there, and unfortunately one went over the fence, and that was a 2-run mistake. But I mean, I felt good about it. It was a good bounce back sort of thing, and you know, a lot of credits owed to that guy behind the plate and the guys behind me.
Hey, Matthew, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like there was more of an emphasis on you throwing more fastballs in your last outing and not as many sliders. I mean, you had more of an even mix in that particular start. Were you trying to do that, or is it just the way it worked out against Toronto?
I think you know, that might be the perception sort of thing. You know, I think in the grand scheme of things, it ended up that way, but you know, lately my fastball command hasn't been good, so I've been going to the off speed a lot earlier in the game, where last game I went to the heater a lot more early on and then got to mix all the off speed pitches later on. So it was different in terms of maybe I went about the game as a whole, but yeah, like I said, man, you know, Grayson had a great game plan. You know, Rick helped prepare us before the game, and yeah, that's it. Nice hit by Mikey right there.
Mikey Matuk indeed with a solid single, and now Mikey 2 out of 2 in this ball game. You know, Matt, we had a great shot in the dugout after you came out of your start.
No.
What's going on down there?
He's trying to put eye black on. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. You're the best teammate ever, man. I really appreciate you. But I'm good. I got sunglasses.
Oh, Flyers.
Okay.
Anyway, we had Flyers on, I think, in Texas, and you guys rounded him pretty good. So
I know. I think I'm getting the
He's getting you back.
Yeah. Sorry, what'd you say, though?
I forgot what I was going to ask. Oh, after the start, after you were taken out in the start at Toronto, Rick Anderson came over and had a really long conversation with you, and it seemed just so nurturing, I guess the best word.
Oh, come on.
Oh, that ball belted.
Stay fair.
To left
Stay
field,
fair.
to the corner, foul.
That's a good thing, this foul.
All right, anyway, get back to Rick Anderson. What has your relationship been like with him now, and now that he's taken over the lead spot?
You know, it's always been awesome with Andy. You know, that was the fortunate part is, you know, we've had 2 awesome pitching coaches all year, and when Andy slipped in there, you know, and slid into that head roll, you know, he's had familiarity, and you know, he's solid. You know, I mean, he's done it for a very long time, and he's had a lot of very good pitchers under his tutelage. So we're very fortunate to have him, and yeah, he was digging his fingers into my neck there in that conversation. So that was kind of hurting him during that. But yeah, he was. I was fighting to stay in the game, and he was telling me I did a good job or whatnot. So you know, he's awesome. I'm really grateful to have him, and yeah.
Hey, Matthew, I want to ask you about pitching coaches, because at the end of last year you had Rich Doobie, and then all of a sudden here comes Chris Bosio for a couple of months, and now it's Rick Anderson. From a pitcher standpoint, I mean, is it hard to digest 3 different voices from a pitching coach? I mean, do you have to really work at hearing what everybody's saying?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you had another one in there, Jeff Pico in AAA, and then Jeff Jones the year before that. It's tough, but at the same time, you know, it's awesome. You get a chance to digest and ton of different information and different perspectives from different, you know, coaches and outlooks on the game, and through that you get to develop your own game, which through having multiple coaches really, you know, digs its roots in terms of how the convictions in your own game. And through that I've really identified my own game, you know, picking from each person, and not to mention picking from the veterans on the staff, and understanding, you know, what brings me success and whatnot. And I'm very fortunate to, you know, have that experience.
Now, I wanted to ask you about your new foundation that you founded with your wife, Ashley. I know it's very important to you, and tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, we're in the process right now. We've launched an organization called Kingdom Home. It's a nonprofit organization. We have a home in Uganda that has children from ages 8 to 14. We have 35 girls in there that have been rescued from the sex trade. Different, you know, various different things, but all, you know, part of the sex trade, rescued in. They're ages 8 to 14. We have 35 of them, and you know, we're in the process of applying for a 501c3 right now, so we can start fundraising in the coming days, in the coming months, and we're just really fortunate that we've had this opportunity. My wife and I are going to go in November, and you know, we're just providing food. We're providing you know, a bed, education, you know, and you know, we're just very grateful that the Lord has presented us with this opportunity, and our goal is just to spread His kingdom here on earth. And you know, right now this is where we're called, and we, you know, who knows in the future if it'll, you know, spread to stateside. That'd be really cool. But we're really excited for this, and there's going to be a lot more information to come over the coming weeks and months as we go through this process, and you know, would love to share more about it.
Well, we're glad you have an opportunity to talk a little bit about it here today.
Yeah.
As Nico Goodrum stands in now with 2 outs, and Nico looks at a ball outside. You got a chance to spend some time with Jack Morris in the offseason, didn't you?
Yeah.
The Caravan, how'd that go?
That was pretty special, man. I mean, gosh, that guy's forgotten more baseball than, you know, I've ever known. I mean, he's been through the battles, he's been through the wars, and it was just awesome just to sit there and shoot the breeze with him, and, you know, drop the puck at a Red Wings game with him too. But talking with him, it was really cool to hear about, you know, that 84 team, and hearing about the years before it, how they were, you know, they're a lot like us. They not to compare us to them, but, you know, they were young and they grew up together. They came up together, and that was his kind of message to me, is, you know, it's talent's always there. It's just about the attitude you bring every single day. And I got to pick his brain about, you know, pitching and whatnot, and I'm really grateful for that time.
Well, Matt, we appreciate it. Not one single seed was thrown your way, so that is a victory for you today. Thanks very much. Good luck, Matt.
Thank you, guys.
All right. The words of Matt Boyd. The Tigers still lead this one 2-0.
know what I mean? He's.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Oh, there he goes. Look out.
Well, he finished with the flurry there. So
yeah, he did.
That's pretty good. There you go. Cubs fans enjoy their Wrigley Field experience, to be sure.
Yes, indeed.
And that guy's getting his money's worth.
There's as many people outside around this place as there are inside a lot of times.
Here is Wilson Contreras in the bottom of the third, 2-0 in favor of the Tigers in this one. A good start for Michael Fulmer, 6 up, 6 down. Contreras, Russell, and Hendricks. Bottom three facing Fulmer. And he'll look at a ball inside, 2-0. Contreras has been pretty hot lately, 10 of his last 24.
Their whole team last 4 games have been swinging the bats very well. And Michael Fulmer can shut down a really good offense. Ten runs in each game, longest streak since 1930. 12 hits in each game, their last 4.
He walked him on 4 straight, the first base runner for the Cubs here this afternoon. Hey, FIFA World Cup quarterfinals kick off Friday on FS1. First, Pogba and teen sensation Mbappe lead France against Uruguay. Then Neymar and Brazil battle Belgium. The World Cup quarterfinals start at 9 a.m. Eastern on FS1, or stream all the action live on the Fox Sports app. Leadoff man aboard. And here is Russell showing bunt, and there is 5 straight balls now from Fulmer.
Michael should probably mix in an off-speed pitch here or a changeup. He's missed with the last 5 fastballs, and a lot of times the catcher will call for that field pitch. He'll call for a breaking ball to see if he can find that feel again. We'll see if McCann calls for one. There it is. Great call.
Addison Russell has hit safely now in 6 in a row. Only 2 career sack bunts for Russell. He showed bunt on the first pitch. That's sliced to right field. That ball is going to get down. It's off the glove of Castellanos. Coming to third base is Contreras. They're going to stop him there. It'll be a double for Addison Russell. And the Cubs have their first hit of this game.
It's a fastball at 96 over the heart of the plate that Russell takes the other way. Castellanos did a nice job getting over to cut that baseball off, which prevented Contreras from scoring.
Pitcher spot coming up now, Kyle Hendricks. He is 3 for 32 this year. Tiger defense tied at the corners. Ball 1. After a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings, a walk and a double now for the Cubs here in the third.
And Tigers defensively with a 2-run lead, basically conceding the run here. Middle infielders are back.
Cubs have 9 RBIs by their pitchers this year, which is the second most among all teams in the big leagues. Good pitch. He had him frozen. Now 1-2. Hendricks has knocked in 1 this year. Fulmer now ready with the 1-2 pitch. Got him, strike 3, caught him looking. 1 away, time for a game break now with Matt Shepard. And it's a great whip, and that's why he is one of, if not maybe, considered the best pitcher in the big leagues.
He might get a chance to start the All-Star game in his own ballpark in a couple of weeks.
Almora the batter here with runners at second and third. 329. He struck out in the first inning. His batting average good for second in the National League. Two 2-0. So Fulmer now will be throwing his 40th pitch of this afternoon. Day baseball here today and tomorrow before the Tigers return home. Way outside, and the count goes 3-0 now. Let's take a look now at StatCast, powered by AWS. Up the middle is where you see a lot of the orange, and to the shortstop as well for Almora.
Yeah, mostly a pull hitter. At 12% the opposite way, 6% right down the right field line.
He's walked him on 4 straight, and now they are loaded up. 2 walks in the inning. They are loaded for Jason Hayward. And that's going to bring McCann out to the mound and try and slow it down for Fulmer. Hayward grounded out his first time up to the shortstop, and Fulmer could certainly use one of those right now. Michael came in with a career ERA of 2.72 in interleague play. Hayward pops it up. Left side of the infield. Candelario for a huge second out.
Hayward upset with himself. Broke his bat. You notice he had to break it on the ground first before he attempted to break it across that knee.
He ain't no dummy.
Who did we see break it like that one time? Was it Bo Jackson?
Yeah, Bo did. I think Cespedes did once too. I think we saw him do that.
I think Bo Jackson was the first guy that I saw do that.
Were you ever so frustrated on the field that you attempted to do it over your leg?
No, never. I know better too, because I would not be able to break it. It would be embarrassing.
So now Zobrist with 2 outs.
He's got one more big out to get. He's got a tough customer in Zobrist to do it against. He's a good contact hitter. He chokes up and he likes to put the ball in play.
Ball 1. Fulmer has 2 4-pitch walks in this inning. He didn't like the call on that last one. He was staring in there against Wegner.
It was a 97-mile-per-hour two-seam fastball that he thought caught the outside corner.
High pop-up. Shallow right field. Castellanos coming in, battling the sun, and Fulmer gets out of the jam. Cubs leave him loaded. Still 2-0 Tigers. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire.
for heroes, because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Well, the Tigers dodge a bullet as the Cubs leave them loaded. And so the Tigers hold on to their 2-0 lead as we go to the 4th inning.
Got to get that sunscreen on today.
Sunscreen and water, two of the necessities here this afternoon.
A lot of water.
Ducey will lead things off. Ducey, Jones, and McCann, and the first one from Hendricks outside 1-0. Ducey bounced out his first time up 0 for 1. Will drive that one in the air toward left, slicing toward the seats and out of the reach of Schwarber. You know, it was just a couple of days ago here when the Minnesota Twins were in town that the heat index was well over 100 degrees.
Yeah, we caught a break. I mean, it's warm today, but not nearly what it was a few days ago. Didn't they have to carry like 3 players off the field that day?
Yeah, actually 4 of them, I was told.
That's dangerous.
It is. 2 balls, 1 strike. Actually 10 degrees cooler today than it was over the weekend. So even though it's still warm today, it was extremely warm when the Twins were here. Off the end of the bat.
There's that changeup that Hendricks features mostly. 83, mostly sunny. Humidity 62%.
Little pop-up foul again, back out of play.
You got any connections on any of those folks that got any of those boats over there on the water close to the hotel? We might be able to go hang out afterwards.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll make a couple of phone calls. You packed your Speedo, right?
No, not the Speedo this time.
No.
I didn't want to show out.
Yeah, we'll hit the boats once the ball game is over here. Cool down a little bit.
It's a wonderful sight.
Ducey back home. He is went to high school in Evergreen Park, Illinois. And so here he is, called back up to the big leagues, and by coincidence here at Wrigley. Hendricks trying to put him away. The 2-2 is high, ball 3.
Ducey gives the Tigers another left-handed bat with some pop in his bat, some power. Can play first base. He can also play outfield.
Slap to third and over the head of the third baseman Baez down the line. Ducey has a leadoff single here in the 4th. And while we have a moment, we say hi to John Keating.
Well, if you hang out in the Rockstar seats, you're never sure who you're going to run into. And I just happen to be sitting next to the Tigers' all-time saves leader, Todd Jones, taking in a ball game at Wrigley Field. What does this place mean to you?
Well, heck, it's Wrigley Field. It's one of the cathedrals of Major League Baseball for sure. And there's just so much history that's going on. And 4th of July weekend, and my daughter's got an internship this summer, so we're having a chance to spend some time together and visit. But any chance I can come and check in a Tigers game, I'm all excited.
How many chances did you get to pitch here?
Oh, I pitched a lot here. I had an opportunity. I was in the National League with the Astros and the Marlins, but our first interleague was 1997, and the Cubs were on the schedule and things like that. So coming here was always something special.
How closely do you follow the guys these days? You did some coaching, so you know some of these young arms that the Tigers are trying to bring along here.
Yeah, what's really neat is there's nobody on the field that I played with except Santiago at first base. But I had a chance to be around all of these young guys that are players now, and to watch them blossom and grow. Jacoby and McCann and John Hicks and Mikey Matuk and some of the pitchers down in the pen that you watch these guys grow, develop, and now they're here. is really, really fun to watch, and it's exciting for these guys, and it takes you back to your time playing and how exciting it is for them.
How tough is that transition to being a really big deal and have a full ballpark watching you, and then all of a sudden you're retired and looking for stuff to do?
Well, I was lucky enough to play long enough and do what I was able to do, and I was grateful for that. And now I'm raising kids. I've got kids in college, and just like everybody else, everybody's just grown up, and my time moved on, and I had a great time, and I'm very proud of it. But it's really neat to have a chance to watch the young guys and have Gardy come over and say hello, and Lloyd and all the coaches that I played for, and to just have a chance to spend time with the new generation, because people did that for me when I was growing up.
And you miss me?
Well, of course I do, John.
Okay.
I always have to. He always used to make us take off our sunglasses when we were doing the interview. So the glasses off are a shout out to you. And where are we, up there?
Up there, yeah.
Happy 4th of July to every Tiger fan everywhere. All the people walking around. It's just exciting. There's a lot of Tiger fans here today.
All right, you can put your glasses back on.
All right.
Mario, right?
Hey, Keats, that's probably the first time you've ever sat in the front row.
It is, yeah. This is, this is tall timber here sitting in the front row. I mean, this is Hollywood stuff.
All I need now is a Speedo.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Maybe Rod can hook you up.
No!
Apparently he's got one. We're all disturbed about that.
Tell Abby hello down there, John.
All right, Keats, thanks. And
You
thanks
got it.
to Todd Jones, who pitched in this ballpark with 6 different teams over his career.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the daughter sitting next to John there. Abby interns with us. See her at the ballpark all the time. She's enjoying herself here with Dad this weekend.
Abby doing a great job.
Ain't nothing better than them daddy-daughter trips, man.
Nope.
Nothing better. When they get of age.
McCann lines one to left. That's a base hit. Aducey will come to third. They're going to try and score him. Here comes the throw. It's going to be cut off. An RBI single for James McCann. Aducey comes in to score. Very aggressive move by Dave Clark.
And he was robbed the last time up. That would be James McCann by Hayward in right field. Hayward robbed him of a double, but this is a solid single on a 4-seam fastball. And Dave Clark told me before the game that Schwarber does not have a very strong throwing arm and that they would challenge him. You saw Dave waving that left arm as soon as that ball was hit. There are a lot of left fielders that you would not run on that particular play, but that's the one thing that Schwarber doesn't do well. He's not a good thrower from left field. The other two guys can really throw, Almora Jr. and Hayward.
Here is Iglesias now. Still nobody out. Tigers lead 3-0. Iggy bounced out his first time up.
I would say that's probably the biggest difference in these days than maybe 5-6 years ago is the way the coaches prepare. I mean, they've always knew who had strong arms, but now they know how quickly they get to the baseball. They know their routes. They know everything.
That is pulled down the left field line and fouled.
You always see the outfielders pulling little pieces of paper out of their pocket, which tell them where they need to move with each batter.
Right now, the Tigers have Jones at second and McCann at first. That RBI from McCann is 23rd. Tigers playing some little ball today. Of their 6 hits, 5 are singles. They have 1 double.
It's a big hit for James McCann. He really needed that.
Time called now, and Contreras will go out to the mound. And we spoke of the fact that the home and road splits for Hendricks are really good at home this year, but here are the career numbers now. The lowest career ERA at Wrigley, and Hendricks among the best.
And we know how good Jake Arrieta was at Wrigley Field.
He jumped on Hendricks with a couple in the first. That has popped up. Shortstop side for Russell. Infield fly rule, 1 gone. And now the pitcher, Michael Fulmer.
And Fulmer will be up there to sacrifice the 2 base runners into scoring position. One is already there, but he's going to try to sacrifice McCann into scoring position. And Rizzo right here is not going to allow Michael Fulmer to bunt in his direction. And this is the one disadvantage of the American League pitchers. I mean, you don't bunt that often, and then you get these types of defenses where he's going to grab this ball and get the out at third base.
Well, pitchers do take batting practice leading up to interleague play, but that's nowhere near game condition.
No, it's not. I mean, and then they bunt off a machine, you know, which is throwing straight fastballs at a very good velocity. But then you get out there, you got pitchers throwing breaking balls and different things. But what Rizzo's trying to do by where he's playing, they're trying to get Michael Fulmer to swing the bat is what they're trying to get him to do. They don't, you know, if he bunts into 1 out, it's okay, but they want him to swing the bat and possibly hit into a double play is what they're after. That's why Rizzo is still right where he's at.
We'll take it outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fulmer grounded to the second baseman in his first at bat.
Hendricks has thrown 64 pitches here, and half of those nearly or more have been from the stretch.
Bunted. Rizzo's going to go to third. They get 1 there and a double play, and there you have it. The defense worked.
That's just crazy.
How about that?
Crazy, man, crazy.
He bunts into a double play to end the inning.
Back to this play, and this is one of the disadvantages of playing in this league. You see Rizzo right here. He's going to come right here knowing that's exactly where Michael Fulmer is going to bunt the ball because you have the third baseman playing deep. They disguise the play this way. That's why you have the third baseman stay deep. And then he comes across and he grabs it, and look how quickly Baez gets the ball out of his glove over to first base to get the double play. And that's just a disadvantage for me for the American League ball clubs, but I guess you got to come do it.
Yeah, Ron Gardenhire said it just days ago. As a matter of fact, at the risk of sounding like you're making excuses, it is fact. I mean, they're American League pitchers are not used to A, swinging the bat, B, bunting, C, running. And here's a great example. Fulmer just got back out to the mound right now after trying to beat that out. So he was huffing and puffing down the line trying to catch his breath, and now he's got to go out and make some pitches.
Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. If you just joined us, Michael Fulmer got himself out of a bases loaded jam last half inning after he walked a couple of batters. Those 2 batters that he walked on 4 pitches. That was a double by Addison Russell, but then he got busy, struck out the pitcher, and he got a pop-up of Jason Hayward, and he was able to get another pop-up off the bat of Ben Zobrist in the right field. So nice job by Michael Fulmer, able to pitch out of that jam last half inning.
Numbers on Michael: 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. Rizzo will lead things off. Chopper again right into the teeth of that shift where Goodrum again will throw him out from that same spot.
Nico's been doing a nice job making all those plays off the grass in shallow right field against the pull hitters that the Chicago Cubs have. Nice concentration. Get down to one knee. He knew he had plenty of time with Rizzo running.
Here's Javier Baez. Baez struck out swinging in the second. Ball 1.
It looks like Michael staying away from Baez. That was a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, just a hair off the plate outside. An awkward-looking swing there by Javi.
Baez came in .431 over his last 20 games. That's how sizzling hot he was.
He's got a chance to make an all-star team this year. He's got 16 homers, 61 driven in. It's a lot of really good middle infielders in the game of baseball these days, and Baez is one of those.
He can take a big swing, can he?
Their ball boy, man, he sprints out here.
Well, he came from the home side and ran all the way across to
Look
get
at
there.
him.
Fulmer strikes him out again. 2 gone.
Huge swing by Baez, and Fulmer basically taking advantage of the fact that Baez does not have good plate discipline. He throws him a slider up there that's not close to the plate at 87. And you see it come off the fingertips. He's got great spin, great rotation, real nice east to west movement.
Here is Kyle Schwarber, who bounced out his first time up.
And Kyle's got some big time power too. He lost a bunch of weight, Mario, in the offseason. Really got himself in tip-top shape, changed his diet and everything, but he still has that tremendous power.
Schwarber with 30 home runs last year, had a knee problem which kept him out of 16. He'll shoot that one in the air, shallow center field. Jones can't quite get there. It'll drop in. Jacoby with a diving attempt. It'll be a bloop single for Kyle Schwarber. Tigers host the Rangers this Saturday, July 7th at 4:10. The first 10,000 fans receive a Willie Horton 1968 50th anniversary bobblehead, courtesy of Dunkin' Donuts. 866-66-TIGER for tickets, or go to tigers.com.
It's a really nice effort here by Jacoby. Fortunate to keep that ball in front of him.
Two-out chance now for Wilson Contreras, who walked to get their rally started in the third. The Cubs ended up loading the bases with 1 out but failed to score. Cubs came into this game with a run differential of plus 99, which was the best in the National League. Or, to put it more simply, they've outscored their opponents by 99 runs this year. They are without Chris Bryant right now, who is a fabulous offensive talent as well.
He's close to coming back, though, I believe. Saw him out taking some ground balls earlier today. Here's our Xfinity high-speed pitch on Michael Fulmer. He touched 98 in this game. He's done it a couple of times. He's gone as low as 85 with the slider. He's thrown 57 pitches, and he's still throwing lots of fastballs. About 65% of the 57 total pitches have been fastballs. And just to tie a bow on Chris Bryant, he also was out taking some batting practice here today at about 10 a.m.
Two and two on Contreras, a 2-out single by Schwarber. Fulmer now at 57 pitches.
And Michael Fulmer has the 5th fastest fastball among starters at 95, and Hendricks the slowest fastball at just 86.
There's a flare out to right field, a base hit. That'll send Schwarber to third, and now first and third for the Cubs. A little 2-out rally now for Chicago.
And Michael going to have to pitch himself out of another jam. He had to pitch himself out of a bases loaded jam in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. It's a nice piece of hitting by Contreras. That was a 97-mile-per-hour fastball inside that he was able to fight off.
Addison Russell had a double in his last at bat. 11 for his last 25. Did he go? Ooh, did not. It's the 60th time now the Cubs have gone first to third on a base hit, the most in the major leagues.
Well, Joe Madden grew up on Mike Scioscia's staff in California for the Angels, and we all know that Scioscia was a very aggressive manager, and I think Joe took that same attitude in his first managerial gig down to Tampa. Very aggressive, and when he has teams that can run, he will do that.
Joe Madden had success with the Rays, but when the Cubs job opened up, he leaped for it.
Yeah, it was too good to pass up. I kind of think Joe pretty much had done all that he could do down in Tampa too, Mario, with those low payrolls. I mean, you come here, you got a $200 million payroll, you've got the ballpark is full. I mean, it was a no-brainer for him, I think.
Here's the 2-1. Chop to third base for Candelario. And that'll get him out of the inning as the Cubs strand 2 more runners here in the 4th. Let's go to the 5th. Field, they lead 3-0 as we go to the top of the 5th inning, and the Tigers jumping on Kyle Hendricks early on in this game. They got a couple of runs in the 1st inning. Meanwhile, Michael Fulmer, a couple of threats here by the Cubs, but by and large, he's been pretty good today.
Well, Tigers had a decent approach here at the start of the game against Hendricks. We talked about the fact that he doesn't throw very hard, and a lot of times you really have to fight not to be over-aggressive against guys that have fastballs that top out at 86. The Tigers have driven the ball up the middle and the other way, which is a nice approach, and it's good to see Michael go out there and dominate through the first 4 frames.
Meanwhile, the Tigers, on the heels of an 11-game losing streak, won the last 2 in Toronto. Now they jump out to a nice lead here with their ace on the mound, so they're trying to get things back in order after that losing streak.
Well, it's good they had that meeting a couple of days ago in Toronto, which is well documented. Nicholas Castellanos was the one that said that they should have it, and they were able to air out some of their differences and talk very casually, and it's worked for them. They've got a 2-game winning streak now, looking to win their 3rd consecutive game with their ace on the mound.
And it'll be Mikey Matuk to lead it off here in the 5th inning. The Tigers trying to add to a 3-0 advantage, and Mikey's had a good game. 2 singles, runs scored. Top 3, Matuk, Castellanos, Candelario. And Mikey showing bunt, takes ball 1. Tigers have had good numbers all time against the Cubs, 16-5, but they're 9-2 here at Wrigley. So they have made themselves quite at home here. Always go back to that 2006 season when the Tigers were on their way to a World Series appearance. One of the catalysts seemed to be that series they played here at Wrigley.
They had a ton of home runs here that series. A ridiculous amount of homers.
Fouled back by Matuk. I have to go back and check this, but my mind tells me that Granderson led off game 1 with a double, game 2 with a triple, and game 3 with a homer.
You might be right. And I think they might have hit 8 home runs in that last game here, maybe. Sounds like a big number, but it was way up there.
Missing low and away, and now Hendricks falls behind, 3-1. Tigers hit 10 home runs in that 3-game series.
I knew it was a boatload.
Fouled away, 3-2. High fives after a really good grab. Now the 3-2. Rolled foul.
By any chance, did you get a chance to go into the Cubs clubhouse today?
I did not, but I heard it.
You got to go down there and take a look at it tomorrow, man. It is unbelievable. It looks like a palace.
There's another knock from Mikey Matuk, who in the leadoff slot today is 3 for 3.
Time for the DTE Energy Know Your Own Power. And a few years ago, Nicholas Castellanos in this ballpark against John Lester homered once, and then he homered again against John Lester. And boy, Nick, he can hit some left-handers.
Big numbers in that series here back in 2015. He was 5 for 9 with 7 runs driven in. Runner started going, and then Matuk put on the brakes. Then he had to dive back in.
He slipped. It looked like he was going to try to steal, and then quickly pulled up after he didn't get a good jump. It's a wise move by Matuk.
Nick, a single and a run scored in this game. Castellanos has been above 300 most of the year. Nicholas had 6 RBIs in the Toronto series. Hendricks now about to throw his 75th pitch. And again, they'll chase Smatuk back. Candelario waiting on deck. Appears to be some activity in the bullpen. Not that we know. We are being informed there is, because they've closed off the bullpens now here in Wrigley. Right back to the mound. It'll get through, but it's going to be scooped up by Zobrist. There's 1 and there's 2. A double play for 3. 2 outs.
And ball right back up the middle, but not hit very hard, and that allows Zobrist to go over and scoop it up and complete the double play.
Double play in the 4th and a double play here in the 5th. Hendricks now at 75. Here's Jamer. Knocked one in with a ground out in the 1st inning. And Jamer looks at a strike. Tigers traded Justin Wilson and Alex Avila to the Cubs last deadline, and they got Jamer Candelario. Swinging and a miss.
There's that changeup that Hendricks gets lots of swings and misses on. And he's not afraid to throw that changeup to the right-handers. It's a really plus pitch for Kyle.
To center field. Almora to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. To the bottom of the 5th we go. The pitcher spot is due up. Kyle Hendricks will be done for the day. Tommy LaStella will pinch hit.
Now that's what happens in National League parks. If you're not having a good outing and you get to that 2nd time through and you happen to be leading off, you're going to get pinch hit for.
Slicing down the left field line into the seats.
A lot of times when you come to these National League ballparks, the score will dictate how far you are able to pitch in the game.
Tigers got 2 in the first to jump on top of Hendricks. They added 1 more in the fourth. Stella has a major league high 13 pinch hits. He has really excelled in these spots. Pretty good career-wise as well. 262, 11 doubles.
Pinch hitting is a very difficult thing to do, so for him to have those kinds of numbers, it means he's got some outstanding plate discipline and some really good bat to ball skills.
To left field, hit pretty good, and it's going to be over the head of Matuk. It'll go to the wall, and La Stella has another pinch hit.
It's in the ivy.
Stella rounded the bag, but he's going to be sent back to second base. It'll be a double.
And really good swing here by La Stella. And driving the ball over Matuk's head. Matuk was playing shallow. He kind of got twisted up and couldn't make that play. Well, they teach you not to really try to reach in there and pull it out. Because if you go in there and try to get it, that base runner will continue to run the bases. And Mikey did the right thing.
Remember that commercial years back where Andre Dawson came out of the ivy? They were pulling all kinds of stuff out of the ivy, and Andre Dawson walked up.
I somewhat remember that too. He was an MVP here, man, on the last place team. That was that year where he gave the Cubs a blank contract and said, "You fill in what you think I'm worth." And he went on to win an MVP that year. That was part of those collusion years.
Elmore, the hitter now.
And Fulmer's pitched in traffic really all day long.
Well, he had a 1-2-3 first and second, but after that, there's been somebody on base.
And it appears to me that every time he does get himself in a little bit of trouble, he goes to that slider. And that's been his security blanket.
Slice to right field, and it is a fair ball. It'll go to the corner. This will get a run in. Elmore is on his way to second, pulling in with a double. Back-to-back two-base hits for the Cubs, and they are on the board.
Pretty good fastball here thrown by Michael Fulmer. It's at the top of the strike zone. It's not even a strike. And how in the world do you get up this high and climb the ladder and get on top of a ball? Wow, that's a great job by Elmore Jr.
Now Hayward will step in. Back-to-back doubles as Stella, La Stella, I should say, Elmore. And now Hayward digs in, and there's a strike on the outer edge. 98 that time from Fulmer. Hayward batted with the bases loaded in the third and popped up. Tigers able to wiggle out of that third inning jam. On the outer edge. And now 0-2, and Hayward apparently didn't like that call. 344 since May the 28th for Jason Hayward.
On base percentage nearly 400 with lots of extra base damage.
Ooh, just a touch outside.
Jason Hayward stands 6 feet 5 inches, but the last couple of years he would really crouch over in the batter's box and he would really limit the hand quickness. But Chili Davis has him standing straight up and down now, and he's getting much more bat speed, using his hands much more efficiently through the strike zone. Chili Davis was the hitting coach in Boston last year, first year here in Chicago. There's Charles Davis.
Down the left field line, fair ball. It's going to go to the corner and score another run. Hayward is on his way to second. 3 straight doubles for the Cubs.
Michael Fulmer's going to have to start to pitch inside. What the Chicago Cubs have realized in this inning, that Michael's not going to come inside with that fastball. And we saw LaStella take a double the other way on a fastball away. And then we saw Almora Jr. take a fastball the other way on a high pitch. And here's another fastball that's taken, that's not changeup, excuse me, hit the other way. But they know he's not coming inside.
Fulmer was ahead of both Almora and Hayward. Almora doubled on an 0-2 pitch and Hayward on a 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, Michael usually doesn't give up hits once he gets 2 strikes on you. His stuff is way too good.
A Fox Sports Detroit Central Michigan University Day is coming up Friday, July 20th. Purchase a special ticket package to the Tigers-Red Sox game and receive a limited edition CMU Tigers cap. For more information, go to tigers.com/CMU. Still nobody out in the meat of the lineup coming up now for the Cubs. They have the tying run at second. Ben Zobrist ground out fly out.
And Ben Zobrist a good player. He'll advance Hayward over to third.
And he will indeed with the ground ball to second. Nico has it.
There's certain guys, man, that just give themselves up and they play the game the right way. And Zobrist is one of them guys. He'll get a lot of high fives when he gets to that dugout.
Infield coming in now for the Tigers.
Michael Fulmer has given up 6 hits today. And 4 of the hits have come after he's gotten 2 strikes. And so he hasn't been able to put the Cubs away.
Rizzo has hit the ball into the shift twice, but the Tigers playing straight up and in now with the runner at third. Ball 1.
And told you the first time Rizzo came up, he gets hit a lot. He has been hit 81 times since the beginning of the 2015 season, which is 14 more than any player in baseball. But he doesn't care. Stands right on top of that plate and dares you to come inside.
1-1.
After 81 hit by pitches, I think I'd be backing up a little bit.
Because I'm sure a few of them had hurt quite a bit.
Goodness gracious. Guys are throwing hard these days, man. That is not something I would want to lead baseball in.
He doesn't seem to care.
He's a gamer.
Ground ball, base hit. Right through the pulled-in infield, and Rizzo goes the other way to tie it up.
Their approach is incredible right now. It really is. It kind of reminds me, Mario, of the last game that Fulmer pitched against the Oakland Athletics. I mean, he kind of had his way the first couple of innings. Then he came out, and it's not that guys are swinging hard. Guys are just simply putting the ball in play with nice, short, quick, compact swings. That's the 4th hit in this inning that's gone the other way.
Little frustration right there for Fulmer. Rizzo gets his 57th RBI. Only 1 out. Here's Baez. Oh man, oh man. I mean, nobody swings harder than this.
Nobody swings harder than Javier Baez.
He's paying for that last one, though. He bounced it off his shin, maybe.
Ooh. And he's got that protective device on that left shin. It hit right off of it. I guess it doesn't protect it that much.
Baez has put up such big numbers, Rod. Do you want him to slow down there or cut down that swing based on the production that he has, or is this just who he is?
No, I think at some point in time, he's 25 now. I think at some point in time he will cut it down a little bit. I mean, it will help him get better. It'll help him drive in runs with 2 strikes. It'll help him drive in runs with 2 outs. He's a dangerous player, but he still has a lot to learn.
Now he's down 0-2.
I mean, we've seen him take several swings like that already today. And Michael's just going to throw the next slider a little bit further outside, and Bias is going to have a tough time hitting it. You saw all the really short, quick, compact swings of all the other guys in this inning. Now he's taking some big swings, and he's swinging and missing.
Baez only 12 walks all year, 5 intentional. He's up there to swing, baby.
You don't have to throw him a strike here. You can go up in the strike zone, and more than likely you could get a swing and miss or a pop-up, or you could throw another slider, and he might have a difficult time of laying off with that pitch again.
Strikeouts in the second and fourth innings for Baez. Popped up. Shallow center field. Jones. It'll hang up long enough for him. 2 away. Now Kyle Schwarber. Lewicki warming up in the Tigers bullpen. Fulmer trying to cut it off right here at 3 runs. Meanwhile, Wayne State's Anthony Bass warming up in the Cubs pen. Schwarber ground out single. Big swing there, 0-1. .20 in the 5th inning now for Fulmer.
And by far his most stressful, even though he's had to work out of a bases loaded jam.
Schwarber hit 30 home runs last year, but he hit .211. Struck out 150 times in 129 games.
It's a changeup here by Michael at 89 miles an hour. And Michael's starting to use that changeup a little bit more here last couple of outings, where he wasn't using it as much earlier in the season. Yeah, there's that grip of Michael Fulmer on that changeup.
One and 2 on Schwarber. Swing and a miss. Down he goes to end the inning. Cubs tied up though. A couple of doubles and an RBI single. And we're all tied at 3. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And it's the Chevy 4th of July sales event. Celebrate with spectacular deals on a new Chevy. Back here at Venerable Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Cubs have tied it up now. It is a 3-3 ball game on a spectacular day here. A lot of Tigers fans enjoying the city and this grand old ballpark.
You never answered that question for me of your favorite ballpark that you've gone to as a visitor and watched the game as a spectator.
It's really tough to pick one, but if you insist, I'm still going to go with Fenway Park.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean Wrigley's great, and of the new ones, PNC got a chance to catch a game as a fan there a couple of years ago. That's nice too, but I'll go with Fenway.
Yeah, can't go wrong. It's a great cathedral.
Wall side windows pitching change. Anthony Bass is on now.
And Bass has got a big arm. His fastball average 94. He'll get to 96. And when not throwing that fastball, he's throwing a slider up there at about 86 miles an hour. And a split finger, but not very many of those. He uses that as his changeup.
3-3 game. It'll be Nico Goodrum, Jim Adduci, and Jacoby Jones here in the Tigers' 6th. Nico takes a ball low.
I don't know what it is with Michael lately, but it always seems to be that one inning and where they bunch together 4 or 5 hits and they push a couple of runs across the board on him. And then he goes right back out there and shuts them down the remainder of the way.
That's what happened in his last start against the A's.
Guys like Michael Fulmer that have that kind of stuff, 98 with the slider and the really good changeup, you're just not accustomed to them giving up 4 and 5 hits in one inning. It's tough to do against guys that are that talented.
Chop to the first baseman. Bass will cover on the feed from Rizzo. One away. We bring in John Keating.
We're out here in the bleachers hanging with the beautiful people, our favorite people. There is a great story within this Tigers-Cubs game. It was sometime yesterday that Jim Adduci, who had played 90 games for the Toledo Mud Hens, got the call. And the first reaction is, where are the Tigers going? And he had to smile when he learned that the Tigers were going to Wrigley, because for the first 6 years of his professional baseball existence, he was in the Cubs organization. Ultimately, he found his way to Detroit, and here he is back at Wrigley Field and getting a chance to play in a place that his dad, who was also in the major leagues for 4 years, never got a chance to play. So this is special. And also, Jim Adduci grew up about a half hour away from here, guys.
Well, he has a single and 2 at-bats in his return. Got to be a great thrill for Jim Adduci. And he'll look at a ball high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Adduci will get some time at first base. The Tigers send down Grayson Griner. Gives the Tigers a left-handed bat. And Bass backs him out of there.
Yeah, it's a good move for the Tigers. It gives them a little bit more balance. Because there's going to be some days when John Hicks catches, and then you have Adduci that can play some first base. And Hicks basically goes back to his backup role as a catcher.
Chopped to first, fair ball, fielded there by Rizzo. Same story as Bass covers, 2 gone. It'll bring up Jacoby Jones. There was a really cool article written recently by Chris McCoskey of the Detroit News on Anthony Bass. And it talked about Bass going back to Wayne State, earning his degree. 10 years after he was drafted, at the age of 30, he went back to school and made sure he got his degree.
That is not an easy thing to do. It really isn't, to go back after that many years.
Well, you're seeing more and more now players coming out after their junior year or being drafted out of high school that don't get a chance to finish off their degree.
And then most of those guys that are coming out of their junior years, they're probably pretty good players, and they get really good signing bonuses, and then they get on and play their professional careers and make good money, and then school's not that important,
right,
to some of those guys.
Yeah, it has a way of moving to the back burner.
You know, when you sign a minor league contract, it used to be in the old days, they would, you know, give you a signing bonus for every level you got to, 500 to AA, 1,000 if you got to AAA, 5,000 if you got to the big leagues. They would also give you money to go to school if you got drafted in a pretty nice round. But you'd always be going to instructional league every offseason. You could never go to school. And you can't say, well, I'm not going to come to instructional league this year. I'm going to go to school.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work.
Jacoby waits on an 0-2. A little bit outside. Bass also does pitching camps at Wayne State for Ryan Kelly, the head coach there.
That's good to give back. It's always good to give back.
And, Wayne State has turned into a fabulous college program. 1-2. And Jones fouls it off, got a piece of it. Jacoby a walk and a strikeout. Tigers had a 3-0 lead. The Cubs tied it up with a 3 spot in the 5th. High and away, 2-2.
Didn't Wayne State rename their field
Ernie Harwell.
Ernie Harwell Field?
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility. Smack dab in the middle of Midtown in downtown Detroit. There's a drive in the air towards center field. Long run, and Elmora will get there. Tigers go 1-2-3. Here comes the bottom of the 6th. Tigers raced out to a 3-0 lead. Cubs knotted it up with a 3-run 5th. And Michael Fulmer will answer the bell here in the 6th inning. Bottom 3 coming up. Wilson Contreras will lead things off. Just enough of a breeze to perhaps cool down some of the patrons today.
A little bit.
Walking a single for Contreras. Swing and a miss. Had a big rip there.
And Michael still throwing hard. His average fastball this year is about 95 miles an hour, which is 5th fastest for a starting pitcher.
Contreras now 11 for his last 25. Dropped on a bunt. Fulmer slides, quick throw. Got him. What a play by Michael.
Nice job, Michael. Who said pitchers aren't athletes?
Once he slipped, I thought no chance, but Contreras thinks he was safe. Well, he unloaded that thing and threw a bullet.
Yeah, not only did he slip Mario, but he mishandled it the first time. And then he was able to still gather himself, pick it up, and then fire it over to first base and make the play. And getting another look at it, it looked like he slid on purpose. Not slip, but kind of slid, trying to get the best position to throw that ball.
And he was out clearly. So no challenge. Nice play by Fulmer to keep the leadoff man off the bases. Here is Addison Russell. Pitcher spot due next, so Ian Happ has moved to the on-deck circle. Russell with a double in this game. One and two now on the shortstop for the Cubs. Got himself a 7-game hitting streak going. He was acquired a couple of years ago in a big deal that involved Jeff Samardzija. And Russell coming over was at that time one of their top prospects.
He was the top prospect in Oakland.
Former first-round pick of the A's. To center field, Jones on the run.
Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. If you're just joining us, Michael Fulmer got off to a really nice start here today against the Chicago Cubs. Even though he was pitching in a little stress, they had some men on base, he was getting swings and misses. And he was mixing in all of his pitches. Then all of a sudden in the 5th frame, they were able to put together some pretty good at-bats against him, led by LaStella, the pinch hitter, the opposite way. Another ball the other way. Hayward went the other way, as did Rizzo, and they put 3 runs on the board to tie the score. So just a really nice approach for them, and you have to give Chili Davis some credit, their hitting coach. He's one of those guys that's really good at making adjustments for his hitters and telling them what to do.
Innings 1 through 4, followed by the 5th inning when he gave up 3 runs.
Charles got a lot of notes down there these days.
They're going to pull Ian Happ back. He will not bat. It's going to be Bodie instead, and he'll take ball 1. David Bodie. Big swing there. Well, Joe Maddon's put together a pretty good staff here with Chili Davis. They've got Jim Hickey, his longtime pitching coach in Tampa.
Yep.
Brian Butterfield.
Yep, he's got a good staff. New additions are Hickey, Butterfield, and Chili Davis. Butterfield and Chili Davis were in Boston last year. And they were let go when John Farrell was let go.
Didn't go. 3-1 on the pinch hitter Bodie. Top of the order coming up. It's Almora should Bodie reach.
And Ron Gardenhire is going to have to make a decision on Michael Fulmer in the top half of the 7th inning. He's due up 3rd.
Walked him.
Do they pinch hit for him? More than likely they do.
Purchase select seats to any Tigers home game from now until July 31st. You'll be entered to win Cabrera and Fulmer autographed memorabilia, a summer fantasy camp, dinner in the Champions Club, and more in the Bringing You Summer Sweepstakes. If you'd like to enter, go to tigers.com/sweepstakes. Remember in the Cincinnati series, the big brouhaha when Michael Fulmer was left in?
Yeah.
Instead of pinch hitting for him, many thought they should have pinch hit for him. That was only in the 6th.
Yeah, that was the 6th.
He only had, I think, fewer than 70 pitches.
Yeah, that was blown out of proportion.
Oh, big time.
It really was, and it was blown out of proportion and by someone that wasn't watching the game, that tweeted something out about what Ron Gardenhire should have done. And Ron Gardenhire, he let him know.
Oh, he did. Swing and a miss. Snap throw, and he got back.
James McCann showing Wilson Contreras, the catcher for the Chicago Cubs. You're not the only one that's got a good arm. As a matter of fact, my nickname is McCann.
Almora had a double to drive in a run in the 5th inning. Runner goes. Ball low. McCannon's throw. Tag. Safety came off. And he's out.
Nice job by Nico staying with him.
That'll end the inning. Gotta stay on the bag.
Yeah, real nice throw by McCann as well. Nice pick down there by Nico Goodrum. Initially missed Almora Jr., but he stayed with him. And Bodie, excuse me, stayed with him, able to tag him out.
A little swim move there by Bodie, but he couldn't get back in.
He got way past the bag.
Here is McCann now as we go to the 7th inning at Wrigley, 3-3. And a familiar face is on the mound for the Chicago Cubs. Former Tiger lefty Justin Wilson is out there.
Saw Justin today in their clubhouse. Said he's having a lot of fun here in Chicago. Said he missed Detroit. He was asking how the team was doing, asking about certain players.
Wallside Windows pitching change. Here are the numbers on Wilson.
He's got a lot of walks this year. He's been in 35 games. He's walked 25. They're not really hitting him, but boy, he's allowing a lot of free passes.
Jimmer Candelario, part of the deal that came back the other way to the Tigers. Alex Avila was also dealt to the Cubs. Max singled in a run, the 3rd Tigers run. That was in the 4th inning. Iglesias and then the pitcher spot 2 up.
Yeah, more than likely they're going to have to pinch hit for Michael. It's the 7th inning, and a lot of times the rules dictate what you do. The score also dictates what you do here in National League parks.
Fouled away again. Michael at an even 100 pitches. So we'll see who the Tigers plan on sending to the on-deck circle to hit for Fulmer, 3rd in this inning.
They've got Reyes. They've got Hicks. Victor.
Ooh, look out. Down goes McCann. That ball came up and in. Yeah, former battery mates. Doesn't matter.
Thought they were buddies. He gave him a nice long look out there, though. James McCann did not appreciate that. And I can't blame him either. Let me see how close it really was, though. Close enough. It's a breaking ball, I think.
22.
James has had a couple of good at-bats today. He had a double rob from him earlier, his first at-bat by Jason Hayward, who made a fine catch down the right field line.
'23rd RBI of the year for McCann in the fourth. Swing and a miss, and Wilson strikes him out as McCann stares out there following the K. One gone here in the seventh. Time now for the Ram Pick the Stick update. What do we got here? Gibby's got a couple with the Ducey. You got a couple with Nico.
Yeah. I've ridden Nico, I think, 2 days in a row, maybe 3 days in a row. Now I had Nick the other day. The other 2 days it's been Nico.
You had Nick all right.
I sure did have Nick.
Here is Iglesias.
And Nick helped me get back on that ivory row with you guys, you and John Keating. I'm back on that top row.
Nice. It is Reyes moving to the on-deck circle, so he will bat for Fulmer. Here is Iglesias. Iggy looks at a strike. Daniel Stump right now in the Tigers' pen, so Fulmer is apparently going to be done for the day. A roll foul.
It'll be the first outing for Daniel Stump since being recalled from the minors on his rehab assignment. Well, they wanted Daniel to go back down to the minor leagues and reestablish his fastball, so we'll see if that's what he's done while he was down there.
Normally guys that are down on rehab, you just want to make sure they're healthy and you're running back up here, but I think it was different for Daniel, wasn't it?
It was different. They wanted to see him have success. They just weren't going to bring him back if he wasn't pitching well down there, and he pitched well down there and he earned his way back. Iglesias is tough to strike out.
$38,424 the attendance here today at Wrigley. It'll chop her up the middle. It'll be gloved by Russell. Oh, and he threw it away. And Iglesias is safe at first. Pretty routine play there.
It was a routine play, and I'm trying to wondering why he dropped down to a sidearm angle. Take a look at him, and he feels the ball, but right when he gets to throw it, look at that arm angle. I mean, he's going to get around this thing, and this ball just sails on him. I mean, I don't know why he would throw the ball like that over there unless he does it often, but he wasn't even close to first base.
Now we'll see if the Tigers can take advantage of that break. Here is Reyes pinch hitting for Fulmer.
Even though Justin Wilson is on the mound, you could steal a base against him. He does not have a great move for a left-handed pitcher. And Iglesias leads the Tigers squad in stolen bases. Just one bad inning for Michael. I wouldn't even say a bad inning. Just give the other team some credit. They can hit. And they are a good big league squad.
Ball one to Reyes. Iglesias 12 stolen bases, which is a career high. He's on pace for in the 20 range.
And Contreras, he wants him to run. A lot of times you see those catchers throw the ball down to first base. What they're telling that base runner is, go. I'm daring you to go. Tony Pena used to do that all the time.
Oh, he was good.
He was good. He had a good arm. Talked a lot. Had a really good career. Rizzo gets mad at Contreras sometimes because he throws the ball down the first base so hard.
1-2 now on Victor. Tigers are without their other Victor. That's Martinez, who is relegated to bench duty in interleague games in National League ballparks. Now Wilson with the 1-2. Oh, Wilson walking off the mound thinking he had a strikeout. Mark Wegner says no.
I just noticed me and Victor Reyes are born on the same day.
Really?
October 5th. No wonder why I like him. It's a Libra.
He's gone to 3-2 now. Is that what the October folks are? Libras?
Yeah, Libras. He's born in 1994.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say.
Yeah, keep
not
going.
Gonna say when I was born.
Yeah, I knew you'd cut it off there. You got a few years on him.
Yeah, I do. He's old enough to be my son.
Now with a 3-2 count, runner goes and is fouled back out of play.
Well, I should have said young enough to be my son.
Mikey Matuk waiting on deck, top of the order. An error by the shortstop Russell has opened up the door a little bit here for the Tigers.
And see if the Tigers can capitalize on that. Wilson still averaging 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. He did that with Detroit as well.
Runner goes, fouled away again. There is somewhat of a risk associated with this right now. If Reyes were to strike out.
Oh, no doubt.
You got a double play.
Well, that's why Jose is trying to get a good enough jump to where he might be able to steal the base. A lot of times when you run 3-2 on a left-hander, you wait until he delivers the baseball. But they know that Wilson really doesn't have a good move over to first base, but he has that slide step. So as soon as he sees him slide, he takes off.
Holding this time, and is fouled back.
He gave him a different look. He kind of picked it up and held it, and then he did the slide step. And when he held it right there for that split second, that froze Jose at first. If he does the regular slide step here again, Jose will probably be on the move.
Holding, and it's strike 3 called. Reyes caught looking.
Mikey Matuk, playing in the second game since being recalled from the minors, doesn't want to go back to Toledo. He singled successfully his first time up. He hit another base hit his second time up, and he singled for the third time up, his third plate appearance. So real nice day for Mikey Matuk in that leadoff spot, with Leonis Martin going on the disabled list a couple of days ago.
How about a 4-hit day here, Mikey? Average up to 224 with his 3 knocks, and he looks at ball 1.
Iglesias and Rizzo having a nice conversation down at first base. They both were in the Boston organization together. As a matter of fact, Mario, Rizzo has gone from Boston to San Diego and then back to Chicago, basically with Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein. They love him, and wherever.
That's to left field, and camping under it is Schwarber, and he'll make the catch.
Wherever they have gone, they have tried to acquire Rizzo.
Well, still tied at 3, and coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch.
So let me hear you. Good and loud. All right, Gary. On 1. On 2. On 3. Take me out to the some peanuts and cracker jack. care if I ever get back. Oh, it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Boy, you never sang better in your life.
A gorgeous afternoon here, and they've got the statue immortalizing, well, one of the most popular and great announcers in the history of the game.
Yeah, no question about that. He was one of a kind. And you know you're big, partner, when you get your own statue like he and Ernie.
No doubt.
You're big. You're real big.
Both very well deserving. And now as we go to the bottom of the 7th, Tigers have gone to the bullpen here. Top of the order, Almora is leading things off, then Hayward and Zobrist. 3-3 game. Daniel Stumpf up from AAA Toledo in our Wallside Windows pitching change.
Daniel wasn't pitching very well before he went on the disabled list. 571 earned run average. He had 12 walks. He had 14 strikeouts. He had pitched in 28 games. And Daniel Stumpf was really good out of the Tigers bullpen last year. And they'd like to see him get back to that form, that success he enjoyed.
Did he go? Sure looked like it. Sure did.
Daniel has a fastball that will top out somewhere around 94, average heater about 92. He throws a slider a bunch, about 45% of the time, and occasionally he will throw the right-handed batter a changeup, not the lefties, but the righties. There it was, too, I believe, that change piece.
Now Morris out of there, 1 gone.
Nice pitch. Real nice pitch. Actually looked like it was a backdoor breaking ball at 87 that caught the outside corner.
Here's Jason Hayward. Prior to going on the disabled list in the entire month of May, Stumpf struggled after a really good April. His ERA was 13 in May, and then he missed all of June.
He was real good down the stretch for the Tigers as well in 2017.
Tigers for the longest time went without a lefty in the bullpen as Blaine Hardy was throwing in the rotation.
Now they got 2.
Which is more comforting.
And they got Buck Farmer down there who does nice work against lefties. As a matter of fact, Buck better against lefties than he is against righties.
Pulled right by the first baseman Aducey. A solid single to right field for Jason Hayward. Catch baseball's biggest stars at the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 17th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Let's bring up Ben Zobrist. Oh for 3 for the versatile Zobrist. played right, he's played left, he's played second, and he's played first this year for the Cubs. Off the inside corner, the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Ground ball, base hit right field. Hayward hits the bag, he's going to third. Nick's throw will be cut off, and now the Cubs have runners at first and third with 1 out.
I don't know if they are doing it by design here today, or if it's this the way that they're playing the game against us today, but just about every one of their hits today have been the opposite way. They've done a nice job of just hitting the ball where the Tigers have not been, and when you hit the ball the other way and you make a conscious effort of hitting the ball the other way, you're always going to stay on it. And we told you earlier, they go first to third better than any team in baseball right now. That is the 61st time this year they've done it.
So here is Rizzo. Cubs trying to take their first lead of the game. Rizzo this year bats only .227 against lefties. In there, a strike called, 0-1. A single the other way to drive in a run in the 5th inning for Rizzo. That tied the game at 3. And he's knocked in 57 runs this year. He's been good in these spots, well over 300.
Rizzo, one of those guys, partner, when healthy, you can write down 25 to 30, and you can write down 100 RBIs every year. That's what he's going to do if he stays healthy.
Kind of like Joey Votto, I didn't realize he chokes up on the bat.
Doesn't lose power by doing so either. Barry Bonds used to choke up as well, and he had a lot of power. It gives you better bat control.
Now Rizzo and the hitters count 2-1. Daniel Stump replacing Michael Fulmer, who went 6 in this game, allowing 3 runs.
Yeah, ground ball, get a double play, get out of this thing. Check Rizzo's double play numbers. Not many.
No.
Nope, just 7. As a matter of fact, 7 is a team lead, so they keep the ball in the air. They don't hit many ground balls.
Way up and in. Now 3-1 on Rizzo. We got Baez lurking on deck.
Which means we've probably got a right-hander warming up, getting ready for Baez. Alex Wilson.
Rizzo 51 RBIs in interleague play since 2015. That's the most in the NL. Fouled away. Now 3-2.
It's the fourth season with 50 plus RBI prior to the All-Star break for Rizzo. Only the 2nd Cubs player to accomplish that.
That's why he's a 3-time All-Star. Just got a piece of it. Stump nearly struck him out.
I wanted to finish what I was talking about last half inning. Rizzo started with the Boston Red Sox, and when Jed Hoyer, who was with Boston and Theo, went to San Diego, he was traded to San Diego. And then when Hoyer left San Diego to come with Theo to Chicago, they traded for Rizzo again to come back over here. Then they gave him a long-term contract so he would never leave again. It's kind of like, who did we just see? Jed Lowry. Same situation as Jed Lowry.
Bouncer up the middle. Nico fires to second one, not in time.
That's a nice try by the Tigers.
Oh, they almost turned two. Hayward scores. And the Cubs have their first lead.
And ball not hit hard enough, and you saw the base runner stop. He didn't want to be tagged, so Nico got it to Iglesias. Iglesias, he took very little time getting the ball to Odusi, but Rizzo, and not at the fleetest of foot, was able to beat it out, get himself another RBI.
It's going to be it for Stump with Baez coming up. The Cubs take their first lead of the game. And Alex Wilson comes running in from the bullpen. We'll be back. Take on the right-handed batting Javier Baez.
And first time we've seen Alex in a while. He left the game a few days ago, and it turned out to be a hamstring, a little bit of a strain, but he's back in there now.
Baez 0 for 3. Ball one.
I don't think Baez has seen one pitch inside all day today. I mean, Michael Fulmer, in all 3 of the plate appearances he's had against him, everything was away, fastball, slider. And he's been a free swinger. He has swung and missed quite a bit today.
Again, swing and a miss. Baez 61 RBIs coming into this game. Player of the week last week, he tore it up in the National League. 483. Baez right now with 61 driven in, time for the major league lead.
Played for Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic.
Runner on the move there.
Yeah, Rizzo would have been able to get to second base standing up. They really weren't paying much attention to Rizzo. He had a running jump.
Since the 20th of June, the numbers for Javi Baez.
Francisco Lindor in 2011 was drafted with the 8th pick in the first round you know who he plays for, and Baez was taken right after him. He was a 9th pick that year. So a couple of Puerto Rican shortstops taken in the first round that season.
It's gone to 3-2, which means the runner will be on the move here with 2 outs.
And Alex will not throw him a fastball. And he might not even have to throw him a strike, and he still could get out of this with a strikeout if he disguises the slider on the outside corner.
Swing and a miss to strike him out, and Baez fans for the 3rd time in the ballgame. Cubs get a run, though. They take the lead, and you're watching Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. We go to the top of the 8th inning here at Wrigley Field. The Tigers jumped out, Rod, to a 3-0 lead in this game. Michael Fulmer, again, you could just narrow it down to 1 inning, which seems to be his problem.
Yeah, I mean, he was mixing them up very well here into the 5th inning, and you got to give the Chicago Cubs hitters some credit. I mean, they got 4 hits in that 5th frame, and every last one of them were away from the opposite field. So they've done a lot of that today under the tutelage of Chili Davis.
And now the Tigers going to have to try and get to the bullpen of the Chicago Cubs. So we do know this, that it's been a festive atmosphere here this afternoon. And now Steve Cishek will come in out of their pen.
And the former Miami Marlin, Cishek, 39 games he's been in. He's got a really good ERA at 1.89. He's punched out 41. He's only walked 17.
He will have to navigate through the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Castellanos lays it off. He'll dive in for a strike. 0-1 on Nicholas.
And first pitch breaking ball there thrown by Cishek.
Now they go 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. You think Cishek sells seashells by the seashore?
I don't know. You think so?
No, I can't do that again. Don't ask me to. It'll miss inside. 2-1. Nicholas Castellanos, a single and a run scored. He's 1 for 3. Hit into a double play in his last at bat. Tigers down 1 here in the 8th.
And pretty much just 2 pitches, fastball, slider, and a good sinker from Cishek. He throws from that low 3/4 arm slot like our very own Lewis Coleman. But he seems like he's got a little bit more velocity on his 2-seamer. That one was 91. Ooh, he's just barreling that sinker down and in on the hands of Nicholas Castellanos. Check out the arm slot. Now take a look at the movement. I mean, it looks like a fastball coming out of his hand all the way. Now look at the movement on this thing. Where he throws it from and releases it, that thing just chases them inside.
Line to left field, and Schwarber runs it down. One away. Menards brings you the big money encounter. Jeimer Candelario coming to the plate, and we mentioned his Cub background. He signed with the Cubs at the tender age of 16.
Yeah, he was blocked here. He was not going to play third base. He was not going to get an opportunity to play here, and the Tigers were able to capitalize on that in the Avila and Justin Wilson deal. They got the Cubs' best prospect.
It has not taken long for Jeimer to pay dividends with the big club. Got up here toward the end of last year and now got up to a really good start this year, but the wrist injury slowed him down. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1.
And Cishek saved 120 games. Yeah, with the Marlins and also the Seattle Mariners. So he's accustomed to closing out games. Ooh, what a man. That thing was wicked. It really was wicked. Look at this breaking ball. Look at the break on this thing. I mean, that thing started 3 feet off the plate outside and ended up 3 feet off the plate inside.
Jeimer is out of there, 2 gone. Well, make sure to spend part of your July 4th right here with us tomorrow. Game coverage of the Tigers Cubs begins at 1 right here on Fox Sports Detroit. And if you're out on the beach or at the barbecue, you don't have to miss the game. Just download the Fox Sports Go app and take the Tigers with you wherever you go. Now Cishek delivers a strike to Nico Goodrum.
He's basically thrown nothing but strikes. I mean, he's got that little 2-seam fastball that he threw to Nick, and then he's busted out the slider to the left-handed batters. That's just a show-me pitch right there at 90. He's going to go right back to that slider again. Nico's got to make him get it up.
Goodrum had a double to drive in a run in the 2-run first for the Tigers.
Ooh, that thing's dirty, man.
I mean, what do you do with that?
I don't know. You take it. That's what you do. You don't swing at it if you can.
You got Coleman and Soppold.
I mean, this thing right here. He's got more break on his than Lewis Coleman has on his slider.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Goodrum is gone, and the Tigers out quickly in the 8th. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 4-3 Cubs. Brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Back here in Wrigleyville. And more specifically, Wrigley Field.
I mean, there's a lot going on outside as well. These folks couldn't get into the ballpark.
Tigers down by a run. Here in 4th of July week. What a place to be spending the 4th.
And beautiful weather today as well.
Here is Warwick Soppold out of the Tigers pen. Schwarber will be the first man to face him. And Schwarber in this game is 1 for 3. Tigers led 3-0 in this game, but the Cubs came back to score 3 on Fulmer in the 5th and then scratched across the run in the 7th. Driven deep to right field. Castellanos going back to the wall and gone. Kyle Schwarber puts one in the basket out and right.
He has just taken over the home run lead for the Chicago Cubs with his 17th round tripper of the season. Schwarber can hit. There's no doubt about that. And he came off the campus of Indiana just a few years ago, and since he's been in the big leagues, man, all he has done is hit. He went down and got a fastball, little two-seam variety, and he had a real nice launch angle. And it didn't take very long getting out of here.
17th home run for Schwarber and his 5-3 Cubs. Contreras looks at ball 1. Walking a single for Contreras. It's the first home run of the ball game for either side. Two 2-0. Stump came out in the 7th. Wilson as well. Now Soppold here in the 8th.
Good two-seam fastball there thrown by Soppold at 93. There was some good late life on it.
Slice to right field, base hit. Contreras trying to go for 2. He's running on Castellanos to throw. He's going to be out. He is out at second base as Castellanos cuts him down. That was somewhat ill-advised there.
I think that's now the 6th assist now for Nicholas Castellanos, who continues to throw the baseball very well from the right field position. And Leonis Martin leads the team with 9, but Nicholas Castellanos gets over, and then he looks up and he's surprised that Contreras is trying to stretch that single into a double, and he's out by 5 feet. He tried to catch Nicholas Castellanos napping.
Break there for the Tigers.
$20 outfield assists this season for the Detroit outfield, which leads the major leagues.
How about that?
How about Nick's reaction? It's like, oh, well, what's up with that dude?
Dude, what are you doing, man? That's got to feel good for Nick Castellanos.
That routine base hit the right field. You go stretch it into a double?
He flat out ran in his face, and Castellanos throws him out by 5 feet. Fly ball center field. Jones on the run.
These guys got a good approach, man. That's why they got a good hitting team. That's why they're driving lots of runs. That's why they're one of your better offensive teams in baseball, led by Chili Davis and that man Joe Madden. They've got 11 hits today, and at least 8 of those hits have gone the opposite way. That's just a wonderful approach.
Cubs, by the way, have the last 8 hits of this game.
So the Tigers' bats have gone stone cold. Ian Happ, a pinch hitter.
They've had good luck with their pinch hitters today. La Stella doubled and Bodie walked. Ball 1 to Happ. Home run by Schwarber has lengthened the lead. It's now 5-3 Chicago. Two and 0. Here's Pedro Strop warming up in their bullpen. Brandon Morrow threw an inning and a third on Sunday, so apparently they're going to go with Strop.
And Strop's got a high octane fastball too.
3-0.
Yeah, the right-hander on deck. You don't really have to give in to Happ here on a fastball right down the middle. If you do, he's probably swinging. And go ahead and walk him and go after the leadoff hitter.
Strike called again, and Happ now is called back. 3-2. Tigers have a Ducey Jones McCann due up for Pedro Strop when we get to the ninth. Ooh, it looked like he wanted to call it. Wegner kind of flinched a bit. 2-out walk. Here is the upcoming matchup tomorrow for the finale presented by Wallside Windows. Liriano and Quintana. A couple of lefties will go at it.
Yep, we've seen Quintana quite a bit over the years. And when he was pitching on the south side of Chicago.
Here's Almora. Grounded foul, third base side. Almora came in second in the National League in hitting. He too is a former first-round pick of the Cubs back in 2012.
The Cubs have done very well under Theo Epstein and all of his chief lieutenants at drafting and bringing along homegrown players. They are very talented. They're built to win for a long, long time. And just like the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros, they all kind of built their teams the same way. They were finishing in last place. They were drafting very well. They were signing international players. And then when you get good and those guys all get to the big leagues, then you start adding a free agent here, you add a free agent there, you add a rock star manager in Joe Madden. Next thing you know, you're winning a championship.
Tigers hoping to follow that blueprint by building within through the draft. Missing low. 2-1 now. And Almora. Well, it was 2016 that the Cubs defeated the Cleveland Indians in 7 games.
That was a great World Series.
Historic.
Man. That was great.
Rajay Davis took Chapman deep.
Yep, I got out of my seat when he hit that. I mean, I jumped out of my seat. That was one of them screaming moments.
To the shortstop, Iglesias will get the force. That'll end the inning. So we're headed to the ninth. Tigers need 2 to tie. Get the offense going quickly as Pedro Strop comes on to try and record the save.
And they got Pedro Strop a few years ago from the Baltimore Orioles, and man, he has been good in the bullpen for the Chicago Cubs. This year, 34 games, 7 holds, 2.62 ERA, 34 strikeouts, 13 walks. He's a hard thrower.
Ian Happ stays in the game. He'll play left field. Schwarber out of the game. Jim Adduci will lead things off for the Tigers. Adduci is single in 3 at-bats. And the first one is in for a strike on Adduci.
And first pitch slider thrown there by Pedro. 1 of 3 in save chances this year.
Ground ball right side, glove there by Rizzo. Stroke will cover, 1 gone.
Chicago Cubs looking to win their 5th consecutive game, but they're doing it differently today. In the prior 4 games, they averaged 11 runs of offense in each of those 4 games, but today they had a nice solid approach. And some nice 2-strike hitting, driving the ball the other way. They grinded out some at-bats against Michael.
Tigers still have V-Mart on the bench. Here is Jacoby Jones. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Pedro Strop holds the franchise record with 112 holds. He's got an ERA of a little over 2 as a Cub.
He's been good in Chicago. He wasn't very good for Baltimore and Buck Showalter. That's why they moved him.
Yeah, toward the end he wasn't good at all, but I guess, you know, you could see he had the stuff.
No question.
Jacoby lines one down the right field line, foul.
What a great atmosphere that these Cubs get to play in front of every single day. A packed house.
They're in a stretch of 9 straight day games.
I know.
We keep talking about how these guys are creatures of habit. When you string together this many day games, of course, they always used to play just day games here.
And Gardy was talking about all the day games that his team is currently playing. They played 3 in Toronto.
There's a base hit to left field for Jacoby.
And 2 more here.
That'll bring the tying run to the plate now. A 1-out single by Jones.
And Pedro Strop tried to quick pitch and Jacoby Jones that time. He used the slide step with nobody on base. Check him out how quickly he gets the ball. He's going to grab it and just throw it. And Jacoby was waiting for it. Starting to see more and more pitchers do that.
A lot more. Didn't work out that time though. Jacoby has his first hit. We'll bring up McCann now, who singled in a run in the 4th. Ball 1. Strop began his career in Texas. 3 years Baltimore, 3 years Rangers, and now in his 6th season in Chicago. Fouled away. The count is 1-1. There's Victor just in case.
He's ready. He's already been down in the cage. He's already taken a ton of swings. He's loose. He's getting locked in from the dugout, isn't he?
He sure is.
Looks like he's trying to time the pitcher from the dugout. Time that fastball. You know, when you get in that batter's box as a pinch hitter, man, they throw you a first pitch fastball. You got to be swinging at it.
Iglesias next, then the pitcher spot. Blocked there by the catcher Contreras. 2-2 on McCann. Jones at first with 1 out. Swing and a miss. McCann is tied up and down he goes. 2 away.
Strop has thrown a lot of breaking balls. I mean, he's got a fastball that is at 95 and above, but today he is using the breaking ball to his advantage.
7th strikeout for Cubs pitching. And now here's Iglesias trying to keep it alive. Strike 1. Should he keep it going, Victor has sauntered over to the on-deck circle. Little chopper slowly back up the middle. Quick throw in time, and the Cubs win game 1. Tigers fall 5-3 today. Now we send you to the Coliseum Studios. Matt Shepard standing by with Tigers Live postgame.